Welcome to Your Success Podcast. I'm Angelos.
And I'm Mo.
And today we're extremely privileged to interview the one and only Grant Cardone, who is an entrepreneur, real estate investor controlling over $1 billion worth of assets in America.
It was a really inspiring interview, and I think you're all going to really enjoy it. We discussed work-life balance with family, how people's goals aren't big enough. We discussed the 10X concept, so I think you're going to really enjoy it.
So sit back, relax, and enjoy this inspiring interview.
Grant, thank you so much for joining us on Your Success Podcast.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me, man.
For this very small...
Love what you're doing, by the way.
Thank you.
You know, I think it's really important that people get inspiration and an opportunity to hear that things can get better.
Yeah, 100%. We absolutely, that's why we do the podcast. We love speaking to inspirational people and sharing their stories. So for the very small percentage of people in our audience that might not know you too well, can you give us a very short sort of background to how you started out?
Yeah, so look, I grew up in obviously I'm from the U.S., you can hear the accent probably, in a little place called Louisiana. It's right in the middle south, all the way as far south as you can go before you get to Mexico. And very manufacturing town, not a manufacturing, a refinery town. So it was all hard labor. You either worked at the plant, the refinery, or you were in some kind of service job. My dad died when I was 10 years old, so it kind of left me with a big vacuum, a big void in my life to figure out my life as a young boy. And it didn't go very well for me for the next 15 years. And then from 25 to 45, I started dabbling as an entrepreneur and as a salesperson first, and then as a business owner at 29, and to where we are today, which is a long way from where I came from. Yeah. But I didn't have any money. I didn't start with any money. I didn't know how to get a loan at a bank. I didn't have any connections. So for anybody that's watching right now, that if you can relate to not having anybody in your life, I'm not saying I'm self-made, because there's a lot of people around me that have helped me get where I am, but I didn't start with $10 million. Yeah. I didn't start with $10. Mm-hmm. So if you're out there and you don't have any money and you don't have any connections, if you just have courage and hope and you don't quit, you can go way further than you think you can. And the last thing I'll just tell you is somewhere in between there, like at 35 and 45, because you start getting information, right? I'm 61 years old, so the last 15 years has been probably more valuable to me than the first 25 years. When you start having some things along the way, because people will get stuck. When they hear this story, they'll be like, oh, he lost his dad, and I lost my brother, and I had this loss, and I had a drug problem. And they get lost in, oh, I can connect. I have some of the same stuff. What you don't hear is what would appear to be the good stuff that also became a problem, which to me is way more valuable. Like at 45 years old, having, probably $10 million in the bank and not being happy. Not having a person in my life, not having a wife, not having a family, not being happy, settling for way less than I could have done, getting convinced by the people around me that I was successful when I wasn't, being satisfied with 10 million. It was totally selfish, by the way. I say this all the time. A guy with 10 million bucks that stops is the most selfish person on the planet. When he could have done 100, if you have the ability to create $10 million in net worth, you have the ability to create $1 billion in net worth. And a person with $1 billion can actually change things. A person with $10 million can't change much. Yeah. You just can't help enough people.
So when you're around people that are telling you, oh, you're doing really well, and you've hit 10 million, how do you cancel that noise out and sort of continue to keep on?
You got to know the source point who told you that. Knows nothing. Yeah, they know nothing. They if my kid, my 7-year-old, throws a football 6 feet, everybody's gonna say, "Oh wow, great job." Yeah. If she believes that, she'll never throw to her full potential as she grows up. So my mom's been telling me. My mom's dead now, but she was telling me when she was 59, 69, 79 on her deathbed, I'm so proud of you. It didn't matter what I did, dude. I came out of a treatment center when I was 25 years old, and I had 29 days without using a drug. You know what my family said? We're so proud of you. Quietly, they're like, he'll never make it. I made my first $1 million. We're so proud of you. I bought my first $10 million deal. Oh, we're so proud of you. But they would have been happy if I just would have never used drugs again.
Yeah.
I was the one that wasn't happy. Like, it doesn't matter what they say. It doesn't matter what I tell my daughter. What matters is what my daughter thinks about her true potential.
So I've just had a newborn baby.
Yeah.
I'm really, really excited. And I've got all these big visions and goals and plans for him. Be an astronaut, be first man on Mars, whatever it is. And I constantly want to push him when he's older. But then how do you balance pushing him to the next level with also giving him some reassurance as well?
I wouldn't push him. I would push yourself.
Okay.
I wouldn't push him. I would put. Is it him?
Yeah.
So I wouldn't push him. I mean, I don't push my kids. I'm pushing me. So if my kids can learn from me pushing me, because I don't want anybody pushing me. You're never going to push me as hard as I'll push me. I had a manager when I was 28 years old. He set a quota for me, and I started laughing at him. And he's like, "What are you laughing about?" I'm like, "Dude, how can you set my quota? How can you set a quota for me, dude? You don't even know your potential, much less mine. Because I'm the one that knew what I could be doing. I'm sitting there quietly as a salesperson thinking, I could come in 2 hours early. I got nothing to do. I was single. I was lonely. I had nothing to do. I could have gotten to work 2 hours early. I could have stayed 4 hours later. How can somebody that doesn't know what's going on for me set my potential? So even as the father, you don't know that he wants to be an astronaut. You want him to be an astronaut? You go be an astronaut.
I wish I could, Grant.
Projecting it onto him. Yeah.
So you mentioned sales person. I'm part of the Cardone University, which has some outstanding videos on how to sell. Just very quickly, Grant, how did you become such a good, proficient salesperson?
Well, it's funny because, and I say this all the time, like, if you learn to love the thing you hate, you might find a big gift in it. And for me, I didn't like sales. I hated it. I had tried selling when I was 17 years old, lost the job. 18, I tried again part-time during the summer, lost the job. 19 years old, lost the job. I had had 5 experiences in sales and hated every one of them. All different industries. I just kept moving industries thinking, okay, it'll be different. This will be easy to sell. I hated sales. I hated talking to people. I particularly hated the beginning, the rapport building. I'm not good at breaking ice. Like Ron Secco, he can talk to anybody. I can't do that. I can't go into a room. I could speak to 35,000 people, but I can't go into a room and start warming it up. It's just, I'm uncomfortable. So the point I'm trying to make is when I was 25, the only job I could get was a sales job. And I said, hey, you got to decide that you're going to get good at this, even if you hate it. Yeah. Because you can't lose another job. It would have been my 6th firing. And I'm like, I cannot lose another job. I did, by the way, get fired from that place. But they never got rid of me because I kept selling stuff. Yeah. So every time they'd fire me, I'd go back and sell something. They'd be like, okay, you can stay another day until the next time you mess up something. So, I went from hating sales to committing to it to becoming now known as like one of the greatest living salespeople on the planet. Yeah. So in the things you hate, like where does the hate come from? Like the things that you hate, the things that just grind you out, like just bug you, there's probably, if you just stay with it and look, just move to the side a little bit and look behind it, there might be some great gifts.
Sort of on that, sort of connected to that, you hear a lot of people say, do what you love and the money will come. Yeah. And I think you've said previously, you do what you hate, and because there might be more opportunity in it, right?
Do what you love, and the money will come. It's a complete lie.
Yeah.
You can't even show me. You can't even show me the proof in that deal. Nobody can show me the proof.
Do you think if you love something?
Let me give you an example. Michelangelo. Okay, Michelangelo. He didn't want to paint the Sistine Chapel, right? It was the
Sistine.
Yeah. So I don't know what to call it, right? So. Dude, the Pope said, yeah, I understand you don't want to, bro. Start painting. Look what he did. Yeah. Right? So now, I don't know if that's, I'm just saying, like, I know artists that do what they love. They can't even feed themselves. They love their wife too, or they love their husband, but dude, you can't even take care of them. You love your parents, but you can't take care of them. So it's just not true. If you just love something, if you only do the things you love, there might not even be any money in it. Like, you could love horses, but you should have lived like maybe 1,400 years ago.
Yeah.
And so falconry, we had a falconry guy out here yesterday teaching us about the birds and the history of it. 2 hours he spent with us. It was freaking unbelievable, but,
It's a very niche thing, right?
Yeah. 1,400 years ago, everybody had a bird.
Yeah.
That was the Lamborghini of the day. Today, that's probably not, you could love it, but you're not going to feed your family with it.
Okay.
So fast forward to today then, Grant. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's over $1 billion worth of value that you've got in Cardone Capital.
Yeah.
Can you just explain to people at home what is Cardone Capital and how that came about?
There's a $1.2 billion worth of real estate. This started with $3,000. And I didn't know how to get a loan. I was sitting with the bank and I'm like, he's talking about stuff I have no idea. Like, okay, you read this document? No. Yes. No. But I didn't even know what I signed. That was my first deal. It was $78,000 house. I put $3,000 down, and today there's $1.2 billion worth of real estate. We'll add probably $200 million to that in the next 60 days. So I could be at $1.5 billion within the next 60 days. I contracted $400 million worth of deals since I landed on this piece of property in America. So these are all big properties, big 40 acres with 400 or 500 units on it. We own all the units, and then we lease them or let them out to the tenant. The tenant lives there. They're happy about it. They don't have to buy something. They're not committed to it for 30 years. I am. And they pay rent $1,500 a month times, I think we got 6,000 units. We'll be at probably 7,000 units by the end, here by July. And so what I did was, I've been doing that for 35 years, slowly buying stuff with my own money. And then about 20 months ago, we opened it up to the public, and people started on Facebook and Instagram saying, I want to invest with you. I don't want to do it. I don't want to go buy the deal. I don't have time. I work for Morgan Stanley. This guy says to me, I work at Morgan Stanley. I don't have time to go buy real estate. We had another gentleman. He's got money, but he's got bad credit because he had a business that went upside down. He's like, I can't get a loan, but I can. So what we're doing is we open it up to the public, and we charge less than any fund group in America. We provide a 15% return annualized on the property, so people are paid like 6% while we sit and wait to get the other 9%. And I think it's going to be the biggest thing I've done, not just financially. It'll end up being a $10 billion, maybe even a $20 billion company. But more important than the money is that I'm going to disrupt the way Wall Street has its lock. The banks in America and Wall Street has this lock on the great investments there. Because in America, it's probably similar to here. Here, you can buy real estate, but you're not going to get the great deals. You can play the real estate game. You could put together a bunch of real estate, but you're not going to get the great stuff. The great stuff goes to Barclays and HSBC, So what we're doing, the game we're playing is, and I did all that other stuff before. What I'm doing is I'm buying real estate that the institutions are going to buy from me. So they're either going to buy the real estate all from me later, or they're going to buy the entire Cardone Capital and pay a premium.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And that's absolutely incredible, but you're traveling so much. How do you manage that, and how do you sign the new deals and find the new properties while you're on the move?
So I have looked at, millions of square feet of property over my career. I could be hundreds of millions. I know a piece of real estate. It doesn't matter where you show it to me. You can show it to me on a Google map, and I'm like, I'm buying that piece of real estate. I know how to read. I know how to read the leases from a distance. But I also put people on the property. So with technology today, I can put my management company on the property. They can video it to me. If I'm in this case, I'm out of state. Like I'm doing a deal in Orlando, Florida right now, 10 minutes from Disney. I know the location. I know where it's at. We're only buying in markets where I know it too. So it's not like I'm going to India and I'm buying for the first time, my first trip to India. So we're buying in markets. I was in Mykonos, right?
Best country in the world, right?
Yeah,
Greece.
So I was over there and they wanted to show me property. I'm like, look, guys, I don't know Mykonos, but that piece of property right there, who owns it? And that one piece of property right there, after I'd been there 3 or 4 days, they're like, well, that's the most valuable piece of real estate in all of Mykonos. I said, that's the only piece I'm interested in. Because if you can get Park Place, it's kind of like the Monopoly board. If you can get Park Street what is it, Park Place?
Lane.
Park Lane, yeah.
And what?
Mayfair.
Oh, okay. Yeah. If you can buy those two spots, you're going to win the game.
Yeah.
And so in real estate, we buy the best location. We're not trying to buy it cheap. I don't mind paying a premium.
And you do that because you know it will increase in value. The equity will increase quicker than.
I know that if I buy a $1 million piece of property in the right location, with $1 million, I can buy $3 million worth of property.
Yeah.
So in America, every $1 million gets me $3 million. So I immediately multiply money, right? So I'm using debt that's so cheap. It's cheaper than the rent. And so, for instance, the $400 million that we contracted cost me maybe $130. So I'm paying $130 million to access $500 million worth of property. That's going to pay me to wait for the $350, right? So my $130 I put down safe. It's backed by $450 million worth of real estate. If it's in the right location, it's going to exist tomorrow. If I can keep it for a long enough period of time because of the cash flow, I'm being paid to wait for somebody to come along and say, I have to have that piece of real estate.
Yeah. And is the rental income how you sort of protect against any downturn in the market that you actually just wouldn't sell?
Exactly. So the type of properties that I'm buying from, even if I'm in Thailand, okay, guys, what's the rent? Oh, the rent's at $3,000. I'm not interested. I need to be somewhere between $1,100 a month and about $1,900 a month, so that any economic contraction would actually benefit those properties, not hurt them. The other thing is in America that I don't think it's quite happened here yet, just because I think the mentality is happening here, but you don't have the inventory. In America, people don't want to own homes anymore. You still have a fascination with ownership here.
Yeah.
Okay, they're that's going to get me out of the lower class. No, it's not. It's just going to trap you in the lower class forever. So you know, owning a piece of real estate is not what it's mocked up to be. You know, it basically makes you a prisoner. Yeah. So when you guys drove up here today, like, were you guys impressed? Like, well, man, this place is awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm renting
incredible.
it.
Yeah.
Okay, now do you suddenly think less of me? No, dude, I don't want to own this place. I want to use it.
Imagine the maintenance bills of this place. Like.
I'm never coming back here, man. Yeah. Okay, it's awesome. The next place I go is going to be another place. I'm going to use this like I would a hospital. Yeah. You don't buy the hospital. And this is what's changing in America. In America, we have 75 million millennials and 80 million baby boomers. Okay, the boomers have all the money. They're people my age. The boomers, 80 million of them are moving into retirement. They don't want to buy a house. They want to rent where I'm buying places. These are really, really nice places. Secure, big swimming pools, $3-4 million swimming pools, heated, jacuzzis, theaters. These are nice, very nice complexes. It's not the old apartments of 20 years ago. The millennials want to move in there because they get instant social community. Yeah. The baby boomers want to move in because it's more affordable than a house. And they don't have the maintenance. So I have two forces, 150 million people that are like, we want to rent, not own. So we had this big disruption of ownership in America that will continue to fuel us through a recession.
What's interesting, Grant, is that you say the different mentality, right? So over here, our governments at the moment, both sides, Labour and Conservatives, are not forcing, but very strongly encouraging people to own their own homes.
Yeah.
So it's inherently trickling down from government policy to...
because that's not their idea. That's the bank's idea. Yeah. The banks want to loan people money. The banks want to make slaves. So it's got nothing to do with the politicians. The politicians are being led by the people that run things. And the people that run things on this planet are not the politicians. So who are your two guys right now running? Murray and what are the two guys' names? Loser and Loser.
Yeah.
Okay, Puppet and Puppet. Because none of them have anything to do with what's really going on. Yeah. Somebody's telling them, hey, we want more people taking loans out in America, in London. Yeah. And what we need them to take long-term loans for 30 years because that ensures that they stay in that location and pay taxes. Yeah. So the banks make all the money on a house loan. That's who makes the money. Yeah. Okay. They make 6% a year times 30 years. What is that? 180%?
Yeah.
There's no way that 6 times 30, is that what that is? Yeah, it's 180% over the there's a real good chance your house is not going to go up 180%.
Yeah.
So Grant, you've got Cardone University, you've got Cardone Capital, you've got the 10X brand, which is this global mega brand. How the hell do you balance your work life?
Partners. I mean, I have Cardone Ventures. We have Cardone Ventures now, where we're actually taking positions in other people's companies. Companies that are doing 2 million want to go to 20 million want to go to 200. So we're becoming a partner with those. I have a partner in that business, Cardone Ventures. We have an advertising firm, Cardone Kern, where we're doing social media advertising for people, doing the same kind of getting people known on the internet, driving leads to their business, just like we did for my own business. Partners and good people, man.
Yeah.
I got a lot of good people, and in the real estate, we have lots of people that benefit from the expansion that we're doing, whether it's banking relationships or lenders or insurance groups, and that can support us.
And how do you fit in time? How do you fit in family time and things like that with all of those?
What we're doing is, it's the question that everybody asks. How do you do it all, dude? Like what you do if you want to do it all, quit compromising on what it takes to do it all. And the thing that we confront at my house is money. And this is the thing that most people are not confronting. They're not confronting money. What they're doing is they do budgets. We have enough money to do this. I don't do a budget. What I do is, what do I want? How much money does it take?
Yeah.
And then I go create the money.
Yeah.
This is what we did thousands of years ago when you hunted. If you were hungry, you're like, I'm hungry. What do we want to eat? Well, whatever. What can we eat? What can we kill? What can we go? And my job back then was to go out and not come home, dude, until I didn't have anybody to blame. You could blame Brexit. You can blame everybody you want to blame. But if your kids need to eat, right? So back then it was like, get food. Now it's like, people are like, I'm just going to take whatever they give me, and I'm going to make sense of it, as opposed to what life do I want? I need a nanny. Okay, I don't want my kids to go to school. I went to school. I went there. I sat with the other little numbnut loser kids that I was. I was there to distract every child in the room. Okay, I had no interest in the class. My job was to make sure he didn't learn anything, and that you and I had fun, and that the teacher went home and had the worst day of her life. Yeah. I hated school. So I hated every second of it. I don't want to do that to my kids. So what do I need? Oh, I need a nanny. What's a nanny cost? $80,000 a year. Oh, then I got to bring her around with me and feed her. And then I got to put her in a hotel room. So I need another room. So you guys start doing the math on all this. Okay, I don't want to, I got my nanny. I got two kids with us. We want to travel around the world. What's that going to cost? What's it cost to be gone 30 days and be in nice places that are secure? Service, a chef. No, none of our parents got us ready for that kind of budget.
Yeah. So it's
what they said was, get a good job. That job will pay £85,000
and make do with what.
And make do with the $85,000. It's the wrong way to do the math, dude. What kind of life do you want? Not what can you make sense of. What kind of life would allow you to be able to do work and life?
Yeah.
Oh wow, man! You know what? If I'm gonna travel, I need a plane, dude. Then you got a new calculation to do. Then I need pilots. Then I need a place to keep the plane. Then I need insurance. And all of a sudden the whole thing gets really complicated, and you're like, damn, I need some money. Now you start picking what would produce enough money. You start thinking creatively. Once you commit, you start thinking creatively. Again, look, I started with nothing. For me to be doing what I'm doing today is because I'm committed to figuring out. I am as committed to this as the drug addict is committed to the heroin. And he has no money. But he has no money. His reputation sucks. He owes every drug dealer in town, and he'll still get his fix. He'll still figure out how to get his deal.
Yeah. So effectively, there are no limits in your life, right? Because you create the opportunities. If you see something you want, that's it. I'm going to get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the best way to be.
Yeah, and you know, and so the question to the viewer is going to be like, yeah, but when's enough enough, and when's it ever stop? I don't know. I don't ask that question. They're asking that question. I'm not asking when's enough enough. I'm looking at a Airbus 319 right now because it's got 5 living rooms in it, and it would allow me to actually do more of what I want to do.
Yeah.
You know, I want partnerships in here. Right? I want partnerships in South America. I want partnerships in China. Other people have done this. It's not like I'm some freak of nature. Coca-Cola's done it. General Electric has done it. Boeing has done it. Like, who's done it? Not people, companies.
Yeah.
And somebody runs these companies. So all of you that are, you know, listening for advice on social media and the guy has the advice, you should be listening to companies that have done these big, giant things, you know, like the Goldman Sachs and Barclays. How many employees do you think they have at Barclays?
Tens of thousands?
Hundreds of thousands. Yeah. Their payrolls, you know, hundreds of millions of dollars a year. How many jets do they have?
Yeah.
Don't go to your uncle and say, should I buy a jet? Ask Barclays how many jets they own. Dude, they recycle jets every 3 years so they get the write-off of it. So what you want to do is you want to learn, you know, you don't want to listen to your dad that says, pay the house off and don't have debt. That's not, Barclays didn't create their empire buying a house. They created their empire lending ignoramus money to buy a house. Yeah. So you got to shift your viewpoint if you want the ideal life. Otherwise, you're just going to get the leftovers, and you're going to have your class excuse that's been around here 2,000 years. You know, you're not the class. You can't have it. You can't get there. Instead of studying, how do I get there and create the life I want? Because some people have done it here.
Yeah.
So, what advice would you, with that in mind, what advice would you give for people that are maybe starting out, and from learning from you, what can they do differently, or what can they start to do now to really accelerate their success?
You know, I would, you know, the 10X rule is based on, look, the goals people are setting are too small. You know, I want to get a good job. I want to get married. I want to be happy. The goals are wrong. And I hate to tell somebody their goals are wrong, but I don't know that your goals are wrong. You know, I know that my goals have always been too small. Everything I have done in my life has not been, I have underestimated what I could do. Every time I've gotten to where I was like, dang, dude, that wasn't even that hard. Like, it wasn't even that difficult. And it got easier as I got rid of the people that said I couldn't do it. Mostly, it wasn't really people saying I couldn't do it. It was mostly people saying, dude, but why do you need to? They were questioning why I need to, right? So if your kid decides, man, he doesn't want to be an astronaut. He's like, I don't want to be an astronaut, dude. I want to be the guy that creates the company that sends millions of people to another planet. See, he's like, why would I want to be the pilot, dude? He's just another worker. I want to be the Elon Musk that figured it out, right? So, and you'll be like, man, just be happy to be an astronaut, right? But he's got a bigger dream, and we should all. That's the first thing I would tell people. Look, whatever you think your dream is, one, you got to add money. You got to. People are having goals and dreams without money. You know, there's all these quotes on the internet. A goal without a date is merely a wish that will never happen. Whatever. Dude, a goal without money attached to it, okay, is something that will never be accomplished, because there is no goal on this planet that doesn't require money, including happy. To be happy, you need money. And your audience is, I'd love to see their comments. Like, you cannot be happy without money. The only way you can be happy and broke is to be insane.
Yeah.
Because only an insane person would say, yeah, dude, we're all good. I don't know where food's coming from tonight, but I'm happy. That means, well, I don't know how you're paying for your drugs, because you can't be happy knowing I can't pay for the next meal. It's just, it's mentally impossible.
Yeah.
So looking forward then, Grant, where do you see Grant Cardone in 10 years' time?
10 years older. It's interesting. At this age now, you start thinking about expirations, right? Mm-hmm. So, but I've been thinking about expirations since I was 20, because my dad died when I was 10. So I got used to people dying. 20 years old, my older brother died. I was I was 20, he was 25. So I had a dad die at 52, an older brother died at 25, and I'm like, man, this is gonna be a short trip here. So I keep thinking, I'm gonna die. You know, when I was 25, I'm like, I'm gonna make, oh wow, I made it to 25. So I don't know, man, 10 years from now, hopefully I got good health and I can move around and I'm as energetic as I am today. I think the real estate we could be at 20 billion by then. I mean, it could be big. It's going to be the biggest thing I've ever done financially.
Such a good legacy as well to leave.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
Yeah.
It's going to be good. And then it's going to be like, what can I do with this money, you know? But I'm going to help a lot of people financially. Look, for the first 20 years of my career, maybe 25 years, I've made a lot of money off of other people selling stuff. So the guy that hated sales, we did 150 million in sales last year. So I've sold a lot of stuff. That was 1 year. We did $40 million in e-commerce. Like people going to websites buying $40 products. So I've made a lot of money. What I want to do now is I want to send people more money than I make, than comes into me. I want to send checks out every month. Mm-hmm. So like last month, we sent $1.3 million out of Cardone Capital to our investors in 1 month. Mm-hmm. We'll do that every month. Now, next, by the time I close in July, that number should be like $2.5 million that we sent out to our investors. Wow. I'd like to see that grow in the next 10 years to where I'm sending hundreds of millions of dollars out every month, not every quarter. Because the banks, they pay you every quarter. Wall Street, every quarter. Most funds, probably 99% of all funds pay every quarter. We want to pay people every month so they can start saying, you know what? That Cardone guy, man, pays me on time every month.
Word spreads, more people join.
Yeah, more people join.
It's a win-win.
And people start praying for me. Because you see, dude, I don't care. People in India are going to be praying for me. People in the Buddhist countries are going to be praying for me. Communists are going to be praying for me. They'll be like, to whatever God they pray to, they're going to be like, make sure you take care of this guy. Maybe it gets me a couple extra years.
Yeah. Grant, we've really enjoyed our interview with you, but we want to be respectful of your time. This podcast is all about success, and as such, we ask everyone we interview, what does success mean to you?
Yeah, for me, it just means it's not what you say about me. It's what I know to be the truth, you know, and my truth changes, right? So it's, you know, am I filling the gap? It's success for me is never about what I've done. It's about what am I gonna do? What is the gap between where I am and what I could do? And so for me, it's always a bit of a reach forward, right? So I'm getting up hungry every day. I'm like that falcon that's like, I need to hunt today, you know? Maybe he had his kill yesterday and he's got 2 days, but sooner or later his stomach's going to get empty and he's going to be, I got to hunt again today. Because with that falcon, it's like either somebody's going to kill him, he's going to kill something, or he's going to have sex with something. I mean, that's the only 3 things that falcon does. I kill it, it kills me, or
have a good time.
We copulate for 5 seconds. So, and then it's back to I kill or they kill, you know, and everything else is like, you know, let's roll. So, you know, I just want to I want to keep finding that thing that interests me. Right now, I'm trying to take care of myself physically more. I wasn't doing that a year ago. So that's on my plate. My kids are getting older. I want to have as much of many moments and experiences with them as I can. I want to make sure my marriage is working. Like there's so much. Like, it's always like, how can I get better as a husband?
Yeah.
In a marriage that's 15 years old, then it's 20 years old, then it's 25. There's no book on that stuff.
Yet.
Yeah.
Well,
Grant's Guide to Marriage.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm probably not the guy for that. But.
Brilliant, Grant. Well, thank you very much for your time. We really appreciate it.
You guys are awesome, man. I really appreciate what you're doing, and I appreciate you taking the time to do this.
It's our pleasure. Yeah. Thank you very much, Grant.
Thank you.
Cheers, buddy.
Thanks, Grant.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much for listening and watching this episode of Your Success Podcast with the amazing Mr. Grant Cardone. We hope you enjoyed it. Please do get in touch with any feedback or comments or questions. What are the contact details, Angelos?
hello@yoursuccesspodcast.com. You can find us on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, the whole lot.
Yeah, we're all over the place. And do remember that our book, Your Success, is still available on Amazon, as well as Grant's books, 10X Rule, and all the other books. So do reach out and grab a copy if you haven't already.
Brilliant. So thanks again for listening. I've been Angelos.
And I've been Mo.
And see you again on the next exciting episode of Your Success Podcast. Your Success Podcast is proudly sponsored by Your Tax Partners.
If you're in business or an active property investor, talk to them to better understand your tax affairs and your options. If that's you, there is a special offer waiting for you at tiny.cc/successpod. That's tiny.cc/successpod.
You have been listening to Your Success Podcast. Click subscribe for more incredible content. More details can be found at www.yoursuccesspodcast.com.